Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into the world of, well, an absolute giant, Pablo Picasso.
Yes, a huge figure. And his influence, it's just immense, isn't it? Painting, drawing, sculpture, ceramics.
Yeah,
He touched everything.
he really did. And we've got a lot to draw on here, sources covering his, 91-year life.
Exactly. But our mission today, I think, is to try and look past the sort of the myth making, the idea of this effortless genius.
Right. Get to the process behind it all.
Precisely. Understand his actual method, how he kept breaking things, changing styles,
Sure.
and what that means for us, really. What lessons can you take away about mastery and reinvention today?
Okay, let's start where the myth often begins his early years. Born in Malaga, 1881. Son of a drawing professor, which seems relevant.
Very relevant. He had that early exposure, that training, and he was, well, incredibly advanced for his age.
Frighteningly so, yeah. Painted his first oil, El Picador Amarillo, when he was just 8.
8 years old, and then gets into the big art school in Barcelona La Lonja at 14. He actually skipped the first 2 years of classes they were meant to make him take.
I mean, that sounds like a prodigy. Textbook definition.
It does, and yet, this is the fascinating part. He himself pushed back hard against that label. He actively denied being a prodigy later in life.
Really? But how? The evidence seems so clear.
Well, he had this quote, it's quite powerful. He said, unlike music, there are no child prodigies in painting. What people perceive as premature genius is the genius of childhood. Therefore, as far as I am concerned, I was no genius.
Wow. Okay, so he saw that early skill as something different, something almost universal to childhood.
Something like that, or perhaps something he needed to consciously overcome. The lesson he seems to embody is that real achievement, his kind of achievement, didn't just flow from that initial talent. It came from deliberately breaking away. Rupture.
A conscious rupture. Knowing the rules so well you can shatter them.
Exactly. You have to choose to start over, again and again, like a beginner almost.
And you see that so clearly, don't you? The famous periods. First, the blue period, 1901 to 1904?
Yeah, triggered by the suicide of his friend, Carlos Casagemas.
Right. And the work becomes saturated with this deep blue, this sorrow, elongated figures, real melancholy.
A profound emotional shift driving the art, but then almost immediately after.
The rose period. 1904 onwards, complete change, warm pinks, oranges, focusing on circus performers, a sort of lyrical feel.
He just turns on a dime. That emotional break seems to pave the way for the bigger intellectual breaks to come.
You mean Cubism?
Absolutely. Starting around 1908, developed with Georges Braque, this wasn't just a new style, it was a fundamental assault on Western painting tradition.
Starting with Les Señoritas de Avignon in 1907, which still feels shocking today.
It is. It eliminates that single viewpoint, that comfortable spatial perspective we were used to. It flattens everything, draws heavily on African masks, Iberian sculpture, like he's smashing the mirror and showing you all the pieces at once.
And that drive to break things wasn't just on canvas, was it? He kept moving.
Constantly. Took up ceramics in a big way later, in 1947, collaborated with the ballet Russes on stage designs for things like Parade. He wasn't precious about sticking to one thing.
And applied this sort of fragmentation to world events, too. I'm thinking Guernica.
Yes, Guernica, 1937, painted for the Spanish Republic after the bombing. It's the ultimate example of his political engagement, using that Cubist language, the fragmentation, the multiple viewpoints, to convey the absolute horror and chaos of war.
And later, the Dove of Peace became such an icon, too.
La Paloma de la Paz, 1949, tied to his support for the World Peace Council. So the art served different purposes throughout his life.
So we're looking for the lesson, the takeaway for, modern life. It's not just about being prolific, though he was clearly an indefatigable worker, as they say.
No, it's more about the process. Look at the period after 1917. He's working in multiple styles at the same time. Cubist works, yes, but also quite traditional naturalist portraits and neoclassical figures.
Simultaneously. That's incredible.
It is, and that's the core lesson, I think. Mastery wasn't about finding one successful style and sticking to it. It was about perpetual reinvention.
Always seeking that rupture with the past, as you said.
Exactly. Embracing contradiction. Forcing himself into new materials collage, working with Julio Gonzalez on iron sculptures, it demonstrates that true, deep mastery often lies in never settling, in constantly challenging yourself. Intellectual bravery, really.
An unbelievable career. 91 years.
Yeah.
Died in 1973, leaving this just vast, diverse legacy.
Mind-boggling scale. And just to leave you with a final thought, something provocative. Consider his portrait of Gertrude Stein.
Ah, yes, the one where he supposedly made her face look like an Iberian mask.
That's the one. People complained it didn't look like her at all, but Picasso's response was reportedly something like, "Everyone thinks that she is not at all like her portrait, but it doesn't matter. In the end, she will manage to resemble it."
Wow. So art doesn't just reflect reality.
Maybe. Maybe great art anticipates it, or even shapes it. It's something to think about. Does creation lead reality?